Gold light approaches. The crispy, dry air delights. Let's stand outside. "80 miles per hour, 10 hours straight to Tyler, Texas, in a Chevy Impala." "My vision is fogged. Must be the humidity. I see an eagle." You know, photos are really just haikus if you think about it, man. Andrei Tarkovsky, the famed Russian filmmaker who made one of my favorites, Stalker, talks about haiku in his book, Sculpting in Time, and its ability to create images through pure observation. And that's essentially just photography with words. Take a look at some of the haikus from 16th century Japanese poet Matsuo Basho. "This road, no one goes down it. Autumn evening. Misty rain, can't see Fuji. Interesting. The old pond, a frog jumps in. Sound of water." Haikus are just facts about the natural world. They usually refer to time, which is why they often reference the season, and then something that they're seeing right in front of them. Tarkovsky loves this type of image creation because it forces the reader of the haiku to form a clear image in their head. His movies can be difficult to experience for the average movie watcher because he looks at his cinematic images as haiku. He wants to present something that the viewer has to understand on a primal level. But it's not cryptic. In fact, it's kind of the opposite of that. This may sound weird to the average logic-minded photographer, and I'll admit that thinking about poetry hurts the logic side of my brain. And that's simply just because poetry is meant to evoke a feeling rather than a complete thought. A poem or haiku requires that one bring their own experience of the world to a scene. It requires trust from the photographer or artist that the viewer brings their own tools with them that will help them interpret the work. Take this haiku we just read, for instance. You know what a frog looks like, what a pond looks like, and what water sounds like. You don't need it to be explained. Basho tells you what he saw, and you received his message by creating an image in your head. Maybe photography is just reverse haiku. Poetry in reverse. We present an image and then the viewer is supposed to come up with the words. And I think words can sometimes be harder to form than a mental picture in one's head. And so maybe the photographer's job is a little harder in some ways. Photographers, though, we like to spell everything out. We love to make sure that everything is just right so that the viewer of our work has a completely frictionless experience and can clearly understand everything we're trying to say. But put yourself in the viewer's position for a second. Over-explaining and making the motive so absolutely clear in our photography can often can kind of feel like reading a children's book. It's boring. It's stock photography. There's no mystery, no intrigue, no dialogue. And while we can make a photo of a courthouse interesting, or a photo of a landscape interesting, or a photo of a small town interesting, what are we really leaving to the viewer's imagination? Oh gosh, I just realized I forgot to tell you that this is Double Negative, a photography podcast by Will Malone, with your host, me, the titular Will Malone. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you're picking up what I'm putting down. I said that really fast because I need to get back to my thought. I just forgot to do the intro. Whoops, my bad. The best photos, in my opinion, leave gaps to be filled in. There has to be something left to the imagination. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about why I love double exposure photography so much. And I think it's because sometimes simply taking a picture of a place or an object or a person doesn't quite get across the feeling or experience of a place that I'm having. Sometimes I feel like through the smashing of images together, I can cram more ideas into a single photograph. And nowadays, I'm not really interested in double exposures made on anything but Polaroid. And I think that's because of Polaroid film's lack of clarity. Polaroids feel like memories or dreams, out of the box, more than any other film stock or photography medium. It asks the viewer to bring more of their experience to each photo in order to fill in the blanks in a way that the clinical detail of digital photography just doesn't allow. But I will say it is really difficult to leave anything to the imagination in photography, especially when many photographers see it as largely a technical medium that's more about recording exact copies of reality. But also, cameras are just so damn good now. Too good, probably. The best photographs invite you to bring your experience to them, to fill in the blanks with your own interpretations. And I'm not even saying that I'm doing that successfully. I think that's just what I'm going for, ultimately. Discovery route. There's a yellow shopping cart full of pizza. Hold on, one sec. I need to put my hat down while I get coffee. EFI shell version, current running. Map, cannot find. Obviously, I'm no Matsuo Basho or Andrei Tarkovsky, and I clearly just ripped that last haiku off of Wendy's. But these images are the farthest thing from Polaroid double exposures that I could think of. So how is it that these type of photos also fit in to my own personal photographic communication style? Well, this photo is trying to give you an idea of how I felt about a place, a time, a moment. These photos are, in some ways, a far clearer picture of my interior than this. These types of photos are things that I notice. They are about me, yes, in the way that all photos are technically self-portraits of all of us, because I'm showing you things that stand out to me. But ultimately, I'm saying something more about the world and how I see it. These photos aren't about my experience necessarily or my feelings, but rather showing you the world I see around us. Ultimately, the world that I see is one that's trying to hold it together. But our mania and chaotic natures continually break containment, especially in the more minor and marginal ways. These photos are prompts for the viewer. They're saying, here's a shopping cart full of pizza. Use your imagination to tell me what you think happened. Something I've noticed about these types of photos is that they connect more with people than the Polaroid double exposures. The Polaroid double exposures are kind of declarative statements. It's me telling you something about me. The point-and-shoot snapshots, however, leave fun Mad Lib type blanks for the viewers to fill in. But what I'm getting at here is about saying something with your photos. It's obviously not hard to take a functional, sharp, and maybe even beautiful picture nowadays with almost any type of camera. So if we want to don the elite and legendary and regal title of photographer, we have to actually do something that the average Joe or Josephine with an iPhone isn't doing. We have to do something different than the average person. We have to take it to a new place. And that kind of requires us to look inward and ask ourselves why the camera even calls to us in the first place. Why did we pick up a camera? Even. I know for me, the reason I picked up a camera is because I like to draw, but I felt limited in my own skills. But then I was given a camera and I felt like it was a faster route to creating images that expressed what I wanted to express. Little did I know, however, getting to the point where I was actually saying something took like 15 years. So, it's all about patience and time, ultimately, which isn't a very satisfying answer. Anyway, if haikus are about creating images with words, then maybe attaching haikus to the backs of my images is kind of redundant. And I think it kind of is. It's just more fun than anything, especially if I present the photos haiku first, so you can test if the image you're picturing in your head actually matches it all to the photo on the other side. Another great fun thing about Polaroids is, that you hold them in your hand. You can write stuff on the front or back or do whatever you want with them. And to be fair, I'm a little loose with my haikus. Sometimes they go the senryu route, which is still kind of a form of haiku, but it's more about like humans and relationships and maybe irony and fun. It's not simply limited to just nature, which a haiku typically is just about. Nature, the natural world. Senryus are a little more conceptual, and we're anything at double negative if not conceptual. There's nothing real here. It's all concepts. In fact, we arguably never talk about anything real here on Double Negative. It's all conceptual. So there you go. But creating a reverse haiku after an image is already taken may at the very least be like a good test of if my photo made it to a minimum threshold of saying something, right? It's kind of a good way to see if I left any blanks to be filled in. So ultimately, if you're going to take away anything, take away this. Stop trying to capture everything. Viewers are smart, and they want to help do some of the work too when they look at your photos. If you give them nothing to do, then they're just going to keep scrolling or walk right by. Thanks for watching. You can follow me on Instagram at Will Malone. You can follow my Polaroid Instagram account at Everyday Instant. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Also, go head to the Substack. Go sign up for my weekly newsletter and become a paid member if you want to listen to my secret podcast. I may have talked a little bit about Taylor Swift and maybe some slightly negative thoughts on the new album. But who knows? It's a secret podcast. So, don't tell anyone. Stupid. I keep doing that. It's stupid. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again very soon.